Stop hunting. Start finding. Choose the AT&T Real Yellow Pages with complete ads and up-to-date local listings to find just what you need.
My universe is everything I imagine. I want to be a graphic designer. How can I get there? The Academy. It fits my busy lifestyle, and I can learn firsthand from instructors who've been there and know what it takes. Hey, my destiny is a career doing what I love, my way. My choice, my school. The International Academy of Design and Technology.
You imagine? We can get you there. Call 1-800-932-2900. 1-800-932-2900.
It's 4 o'clock. You want to dial in?
Yeah, you know, these calls would go a lot better if we had an office.
This is our office.
This is your daughter's dorm room, Bob.
Listen, we have internet, telephone,
dorm
lounge. It's all free.
You could just do business at FedEx office. They've got Wi-Fi, workstations. A lot of them are open 24/7. It'll still save us an overhead.
Hey, baby. Here, give me sugar. Get a room.
Technically, this is her room.
Hello, we're on.
We understand. You want less overhead. FedEx office.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every week on Bright House Cable Channel 49, where we bring you leaders of the community who are here to inform you and give you some insights about what's going on. I'm here with Deon Long, who is running in District 24. Tell us a little bit about your campaign and what you're into.
I'm running in the Florida Congressional District 24. We have a 5-way Republican primary.
So you're a Republican?
Right, I'm a Republican.
Okay.
And so we have a 5-way primary, and elections February 24th. They've already started absentee voting with overseas voters and releasing those. And so early voting, I think, is like the 10th or the 14th of August starts. And so we're looking at that. And whoever wins this goes on to take on Susan Cosmos in November.
Okay, and what kind of problems do you see? First of all, you know, most people who are African American, they picture them as being Democrats.
No,
you're a Republican,
right?
Okay,
right.
So it's not so rare, but it is. Well, you know, in Florida, you don't see that frequently.
Well, I've been a Republican since I was 18, and so I grew up in North Florida, up in the Panhandle. All my parents and my dad and all of them, they're Democrats, but just brought up there and going to the University of Florida. I think I got involved with college Republicans in Gainesville back when I was in college, and first campaign I kind of worked on was Jack Kemp's campaign and his presidential campaign back in 1988, heading up to the 1988 election. Just been involved with it ever since. Okay,
and how do you compare the success of minorities in the Republican Party versus the Democratic Party?
Well, it's no comparison up to date. I mean, we've had our stalwarts like J.C. Watts and Gary Franks who were in the Congress, that I'm trying to get into Congress now. And traditionally, that's been a base vote for the Democrats since, you know, originally most blacks were Republican, and then somewhere back when Roosevelt came out with fighting the Depression, they started that transition towards becoming Democrats. And so, you know, it's no comparison right now. But I think
Lincoln was a Republican, wasn't he?
Right, he wasn't black, though. You asked me about.
No, I know that.
Black Republicans, right?
The traditional a lot of people don't know that the Republican Party was the lead on Abe Lincoln and the Emancipation and all that. People don't realize that.
Right, the Republican Party was founded basically with the abolitionists who wanted to get rid of slavery, and that's where Abraham Lincoln, and so that's where the basis of the Republican Party. And there's gone through a lot of transformation since then, but that was the original intent of the Republican Party.
What do you think what's going on now with the Republican Party and the Tea Party? I mean, what's your view on it?
The Tea Party, a lot of people that are in the Tea Party are a subset of, and they might actually end up being Republicans, but a lot of Tea Party, I've spoken at a lot of Tea Party groups since last summer, a year ago, and a lot of them are independents, they're Democrats, but a lot of them are Republicans also. And so I think that the Republican Party, looking to the activists and looking to have motivated voters, that they have made an effort to try to get the Tea Party involved in the Republican Party. And I think it's more of a natural home for a lot of Tea Party people than the Democrat Party, but the Republican Party has problems also because a lot of Republicans went for a lot of government spending, disastrous tax policy and inflationary monetary policy, and that's what a lot of Tea Party people don't like about the Democrats and the current administration, but the Republican Party's been complicit also.
Yeah, it was, because before Obama took office, there was a substantial deficit when Bush left office.
Right,
and it just got complicated with the economic fall of the Wall Street.
Well, I think it's just chickens coming home to roost is basically what went on. Chickens coming home to roost. I mean, if you have inflationary monetary policy and you have a progressive tax code and you have deficit spending, this was bound to happen regardless of who became president.
So if you were sitting in the White House right now, okay?
Heaven forbid, right. Yeah. That'd be the last job I want, but
okay.
Yeah.
White House right now, if you had the power of the presidency right now,
right,
what would you change, what would you leave the same?
Well, the same thing I'm running my congressional campaign on. The first thing I do is get the fair tax, get rid of this insidious progressive tax code.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. A lot of people don't know a lot about the fair tax.
Right.
Okay.
But a fair tax, in a couple of words, is going to a national consumption tax. And so we'll go to the national consumption tax. You'll get rid of the payroll tax, the self-employment tax, the income tax, capital gains tax, estate tax, and corporate taxes. So all those federal taxes will go away, and you'll just have a national consumption tax, which will probably be around included 23%, 24% thereabouts. And the only time you'll pay taxes is when you spent money at the retail level.
Okay.
And to keep it from being regressive, you would put in a prebate. So if you were at a certain level, you get money back from the federal government to make sure you're able to take care of essentials like shelter and everything, because you wouldn't have any exemptions.
Okay.
And so I think this would be revolutionary and be the first step in devolving power.
Well, we're going in the opposite direction right now.
Well, we're going in the opposite direction. That's why I'm running. And because we're going in the opposite direction, and I think once you do that, you would start devolving power from the federal government back to the states as the founding fathers originally intended.
We got a lot of stuff going on in the news right now about the Black Panthers, about this Tea Party guy, Mark Williams.
Right.
The Black Panthers on one side of the extreme. Mark Williams was representing the Tea Party, but you know, there's a lot of things. They said they threw him out of the Tea Party. The Tea Party top people don't want to associate with him because of the things he's been saying. We're gonna take a 1-minute break right now, and we're gonna go to a clip of a Black Panther video right now. So we'll be back in a second. Let's play that clip.
King Samir Shabazz is the new Black Panther Party's Philadelphia leader. This new Panther version of Black Power does not include white participation.
I hate white people. All of them. Every last iota of a cracker, I hate him. We didn't come out here to play today. There's too much serious business going on in the black community to be out here sliding through South Street with white, dirty, cracker whore on our arm, and we call ourselves black men with African garb on. What the hell is wrong with you, black man? You had a doomsday with a white girl on your damn arm. You want freedom? You're gonna have to kill some crackers. You're gonna have to kill some of their babies.
Basically, what we have there is a Black Panther activist who has said openly, well, first they were blocking the polling booths in Philadelphia, and that was very controversial.
In 2008.
2008. And what basically happened was that the Attorney General has now dropped the case against that. How do you feel about that?
Dropping the case, first of all,
they dropped the case against the Black Panthers for the polling booth intimidation.
Well, I don't know,
which was a civil rights violation.
Right. I don't know what factual information is, but I think a lot of this stuff is getting overblown as far as how much of a threat the new Black Panthers actually are. I mean, the fact that they talk so much and always on camera tells me they're not that effective. And if you look at the things that happened with Mark Williams, I'm a big believer in freedom of speech, and I think that, you know, just because somebody espouses something that we might be offended by, I think Americans go out of their way to find a way to be offended by everything. I mean, let them say it. I mean, they aren't putting anything in actions. I think it's all overblown.
But this Mark Williams said something which evidently most Tea Party goers felt was contrary to the movement. They expelled him from playing any role in the Tea Party movement.
Right, but I think
but he still has the free speech.
Yeah, he has the free speech, but a lot of it had to do with, the first thing they do with the Tea Party is that first they said they were all ignorant and they were stupid and these are the people who are going. Then when they saw doctors and lawyers, a lot of middle-class people were involved in it, then the next thing they come and say is that they're racist. And I've spoken at a lot of Tea Party groups, and a lot of them are regular Americans, and I hadn't detected this racism. I mean, you might have fringe elements of people who say something.
You know something, I think you hit it on the head, and I was talking to one of our associates here before the show. And when you're dealing with thousands of people, you always have a few extremists who always get, empty, the noisiest gets the most attention.
Because that's what the media wants to have. I mean, it's slow during the summer, and media wants to come up. And I think a lot of these baby boomers want to relive back to the Vietnam era, civil rights era, so they want to see everything through the prism of racism. And I think in my
Are you talking about people like the NAACP right there?
Well, that's a group, but I think that a lot of people from, even if you look at the media, how they cover it, I mean, they keep saying, when it happened, oh, they called racial slurs to John Lewis, and it's like, he's like anybody else, and it's free speech. And so when we get here, we're so sensitive that people can't say a word, then we're in trouble, and we're slouching towards
it depends on how extreme the words are, you know what I mean? Because
what word?
Okay, let me give you an example. Right now, we just saw that clip of, we got this clip for the Black Panther guy where he's saying they have to kill white babies. Now that goes beyond, you know what I mean?
I mean, but if he acts on it or he done it, it's like if you incite, you saw the stampede, you're in a theater and you yell fire, people run out and people get hurt. That's one thing. But just because somebody's espousing, no matter how much of a lunatic you think they are, I don't think that we should be going around trying to police what words people use. I think we started this with political correctness when the NAACP came up with this nonsense like we're going to bury the N-word. How are you going to stop somebody from using a word? Are you going to police the use of a word? I mean, that's like nonsense to me. That's anathema.
You're the first person I ever heard say that. But you want to know something? The N-word is used very frequently in the black community.
I use it.
And Hispanics use it.
Right.
And it's affectionate.
Right. It can be a term of endearment.
That's right.
And even regardless of how somebody does it, even if they have some kind of racial animus, I still think that you shouldn't. I mean, if somebody uses that word against you and you hit them, you're the one that's going to be charged with assault and battery or whatever. So it's nothing that somebody can say to use a word that's some word so bad that it gives you exception.
We become so sensitive, oversensitive
about nothing. Right.
About minor things when we should be looking at the big picture.
Right. You should be looking together. Yeah. You just look at the big. You look at the rappers and everybody who use it. They've taken the word and used it and built something good on it. They've taken something negative and done it. Yeah, they've taken something negative and done it, but you have these people want to sit down, they want to police everything people do, words people use, and I think it's just nonsense. We waste too much time on it, and that's kind of why we're in this situation we are now with the country. I mean, God bless President Obama, but the whole thing about the professor at Harvard and having this beer summit with a police officer and one guy who had an incident. How many people have run-ins with the police? I mean, it's just idiotic. And so just the fact that we put so much on that is to me, is beyond the pale.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's just how I feel about it.
I think that's a good explanation. I think that right now what's happening is the media, as you mentioned, is giving the most attention to the most outrageous statements. And then other people feed on it. It's like when you light a match and you throw it into a bunch of trash, it starts to burn. You know?
I don't even think it gets to be that, because even with the thing that happened with the lady from the Department of Agriculture where they went and overreacted and they go and they fire her and find out that her story was about her redemption as far as her realizing that it's not about race, it's about rich and poor.
Well, they've apologized for that one.
Well,
the White House apologized,
but see, they jumped the gun. They were so busy trying to jump on this race
Isn't that what it is right now? It's like managing micro statements. Right. Instead of waiting to see, they jump in on a micro statement, and instead of waiting to see what's going on.
But if we respected everybody's right to free speech, we wouldn't have to micromanage. You could say, okay, this person said something bad or whatever, we're just going to stay away from them, but just try to police and all this, you got to give an apology for what you said. It's ridiculous, and it's getting. But one of the things when you look at the Tea Party and look at the NAACP and talking to black folks, one of the things that, because the Tea Party, and I'm a firm believer in states' rights in the 10th and 17th Amendment, so a lot of blacks associate states' rights with, you know, Bull Connor, George Wallace, and desegregation and segregation in the South and trying to get desegregation. And so that's where I think that they use these code words, because I was talking to somebody and they said, well, they use code words with the Tea Party. I said, like what? And it's states' rights. That's the thing that they are fearful of. Well, you might have an encroachment of it back in the 60s.
Is that because we have a lot of guys who are older, who lived during that time, who still want to play the game and stay in the game.
But you have,
so they bring that up, like Sharpton and and other people.
But you have some of them build it up, but then there are people who come after them who really don't know what that really entails and don't really understand what states' rights are and why people are arguing it. When they say states' rights, they see it as an unapologetic South, and that's how the South put Jim Crow in place and everything. So people use that instead of knowing, in this day and age and the time we're in, what do states' rights mean as far as encroachment of the federal government on states' rights.
What do you think of the Arizona law? Do you want it in Florida?
Yeah, I think it would work in Florida. And there again, you look at an incident there where the federal government has abdicated its responsibility to protect the borders, and so Arizona's doing it. But as soon as Arizona does it, everybody wants to say they're xenophobic or they're racist or whatever. But you look at what's going on there, and you take out that these are Mexicans coming over, they were Irish people coming over and doing the same thing. You would have the same rights and same claims as the state. Half the federal government needs to protect the border, and I think that we try to see it through the prism of race instead of looking at it through what the Constitution is, that we're a sovereign country and that you can have immigration, but you have to have legal immigration. Why
do you think the government has not done its job on immigration and protecting the borders of the United States?
Because I think a lot of people, if you really look at it and you follow the money, and you look at the big multi-agricultural interest, and they want to have cheap labor, they're basically using these poor people to subsidize their riches. It's almost like another form of slavery as far as I'm concerned.
Deon, what do you do with the 15 million illegals that are here? Well, how do you incorporate them into society?
Well, it's not an incorporation. If they're here illegally, first of all, you're going to protect the border, and I'm for establishing and protecting the border. Then if you get fair tax in place, and you know, one of the biggest complaints about illegal immigrants is the fact that, they don't pay taxes, but they take benefits away. In the fair tax, you get rid of all the other taxes, and you just pay when you spend retail. So in that, illegal immigrants will be spending money and will be paying taxes, but to get the prebate, unless you're a citizen, you don't get it back. So just from a rational economic standpoint, they will start to leave if you protect it and enforce the border and you put the fair tax in place.
So are you saying you're not for creating a mechanism for the illegals that were here to stay here?
No, not for that.
How do you send them back? I mean, if you're talking 12 million people, how do you get 12 million people on the bus? Well, first of all, you do that, and you're going to hold employers responsible for hiring illegals. But how do you get rid of 12 million people?
They'll go back. They'll have the incentive to go back. I mean, a lot of people have gone back now. Like I was saying when I was here before, you look at a POPCO. Once the construction industry went down, and once the economy went in the doldrums, they started going back, and you see less and fewer and fewer people here. But you have people who have a vested interest who are using these people. And like I said, another reason I look at it, if you look at Mexico, we've given the Mexican government in Mexico, we're at like their relief of their pressure valve. All these people were over there, and they agitated for a middle class and to get their rights. You wouldn't have this big chasm between the rich and poor in Mexico, and you wouldn't have a basically almost dysfunctional state. And I think we tried to. It seems nice that the people are coming over here and we need to do that. But if they were over there, you would have Patrick Henrys and we talk about our founding fathers who would agitate over there, and we'd have a better neighbor to the south if they were forced to stay there, and the Mexican government was forced to accommodate their own citizens with an open economy.
Oh, well, thank you very much for being here.
Okay.
We got a good view from you.
Right. Well, I appreciate it.
What is your website?
DeonLong.com, www.deonlong.com. That's D-E-O-N.
Okay. And just a note, if you're looking to buy or sell a car, Hispanic Achievers is affiliated with a website. It's called, you might see the billboards around town. It's called bidonmyauto.com. There's over 5,000 cars on that website that you can buy and you can sell. And if you're looking to sell a car, you can post your car on that website absolutely free of charge. Now, you know that the other websites charge you a lot of money to post a car. This website is absolutely free, and you can post your car. Go onto the website. It's bidonmyauto.com. Also, you are aware that the Hispanic license plate was passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives, and it now is the first Hispanic license plate for an automobile in the United States of America. We have the first plate in the United States. If you want more information about that Hispanic license plate and you want to see what it looks like, you can go to www.hispanicachievers.org. Hispanic Achievers with an S.org. And It's a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much. And we're going to follow you to see where you go with your career.
Right. Well, if I make it to the primary, I definitely want to come back.
You have some really, really interesting views, a little bit different from what I expected. But, you know, like you say, freedom of speech.
Right, right.
And of course, we always want to let you say what you got to say and get your message out.
I appreciate it.
And have a variety of people on the show to discuss everything that we're talking about.
I appreciate it.
So we'll be back in a minute. We're going to take a little break.
Travel to Spain or Orlando Avenue. The finest restaurant featuring cuisine from Spain is open for business, lunch, and pleasure. El Bodegón, our very own 4-star restaurant, is open for business, lunch, and dinner. This is a true gem when it comes to real Spanish cuisine, featuring dishes like paella. El Bodegón also has a great wine selection. Enjoy a 4-star cuisine from Spain today for lunch or dinner at El Bodegón.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos on Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every week on Bright House Cable Channel 49. We just had an interesting interview with Deon Long, who's running for Congress in District 24. And now we've come back, and I'm here with Nicole Alvarez, who visits us regularly. I can't get rid of her even if I try. What do you think of that interview? That was interesting, wasn't it?
I thought it was really well. I think that certain topics should be discussed, especially the N-word, as you guys called it.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
and
what it is
I think
that, yeah, people are so sensitive, and I think that a lot of the leaders are really older, so they are living with that thing in their gut from the 1940s and 50s and 60s, and they still have it, and it still bothers them, so they still bring it up. I think young people, a lot of young people that I know on both sides, you know, on every side of the fence culturally, they're more open and more relaxed and more, you know, the color thing is not, you know, a divisive thing. You know what I mean? And but the leaders that are still there, they also make a living out of that kind of concept. And, you know, the reality is that there is money in civil rights. There is money in the idea of, you know, protecting a certain group of people.
Well,
so,
you didn't talk about the other words either, though.
Which
you
words?
Didn't talk about gringo or cracker.
Yeah,
which
you know,
actually
it doesn't bother me. I mean, you know, I don't care if somebody calls me a spick. It doesn't bother me at all.
Well, I mean,
I don't take it offensively.
A lot of people don't know.
I laugh at it.
That gringo actually means green go.
Right, right.
And cracker actually just means the noise of the whip that it sounded when they were hitting their oxes.
Yeah, but that's one thing, and there's another thing, there was another definition of that, and that is that in the early 1800s, people made a lot of corn here, and it was the crackling of the corn when it was ground, when it was dried, and they put into grinders, and it would crack, that crack sound, and those people became known as crackers.
I read it was the sound of the whip that it made when they were hitting their oxes to push them forward. See, I read something different than you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it could be both.
Well, it's interesting, and you know, the interesting part is that the major medias, when somebody says something outrageous, like this guy from the Black Panthers who said, we got to kill white babies. I mean, I don't know why they put that on TV. It's so outrageous, and this guy is such an extremist, one individual element.
Well, if it's put on TV, it's for
ratings.
Ratings.
It's strictly for ratings and to get people juiced up. Because, you know, a responsible broadcaster, and I hate to say that they're not responsible, but I'm saying they're not responsible, doesn't put something that in because it incites people. And also, it has no place in a society where people got to work together. You have crackpots in your society. Every society has crackpots. This guy, Mark Williams, when he came out, by the way, the Mark Williams comment, this guy was in the Tea Party. He came out with a lot of comments, and he wrote a letter that he addressed to Mr. Lincoln as if he was a black person. And this guy was a Tea Party guy. The comments are going to be up on the website. You can go to Hispanic Speak Out TV.tv, www.hispanicspeakout.tv, and the actual letter that he wrote that everybody's going nuts over will be on the website. Also, you'll have, as a counterbalance to that, the video of the guy from the Black Panthers. Now, these two guys are total crackpots. I mean, but what I don't understand is they're extremists. Why do they give them so much play? Why not give people who have responsible things to say, who can bring people together, the play? And that's the way media is. It's sensationalistic, and it's meant to manipulate. And who gets ratings when you say and interview good people? Not too much. You got to interview the crazies.
Yep.
You know? So that was interesting. We had the Hispanic Plate. I mentioned that a little while ago. On August 25th, we're going to have a press reception at the Sheraton, downtown Orlando.
It used to be called the Marriott.
Yeah, it's right across here from the Expo Center on Livingston.
So if you remember where the Marriott is, it's now called the Sheraton.
So that's going to be the official coming out party of the Hispanic Plate, and we're going to have top political speakers as well as business speakers, but it is going to be a reception. It's going to be a social thing. It's going to be on August 25th at 5:30 p.m. in downtown Orlando at the Sheraton. Okay, what else we got coming up?
Well, is everyone invited? I mean, are we doing
Well, they're going to have to call or send an email. You know our website, www.hispanicachievers.org. If you want to attend this event, it's an RSVP. You have to go onto the website and you got to fill out the RSVP on the website. We have a certain number of tickets available to the public, so I suggest that starting tonight or tomorrow, you go onto the website, first come, first serve. There's a very limited number of tickets available to the public. This is a press conference primarily, but we are going to accept people to come from the public. So if you're going to get on the website, do it quick, you know, so we can get you there, okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We needed to clarify that.
Yep, I think all these guys are crackpots. I think that the media should not give them any time whatsoever. I think that responsible journalists would stay away from that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And you know, right now we finally crossed the barrier of having a black president in the United States, and I think that the time is for people to come together. Right? This is Danny Ramos, Hispanic Speak Out TV. We will see you next week.
My universe is everything I imagine. I want to be a graphic designer. How can I get there? The Academy. It fits my busy lifestyle, and I can learn firsthand from instructors who've been there and know what it takes. Hey, my destiny is a career doing what I love, my way. My choice, my school. The International Academy of Design and Technology.
You imagine? We can get you there. Call 1-800-932-2900. 1-800-932-2900.